Now, Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall are, heading to Rwanda this month, apparently, deputising for the Queen in what will be the first royal visit to the country ever. The trip comes ahead of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, which is due to be held in the country from the 20th of June. Meanwhile, Jamaica has officially started proceedings to remove Her Majesty the Queen as head of state. Well, the studio's just got significantly better looking because Cameron Walker's here to talk us through all of this.
Flatter me, Patrick.
There you go, mate. It is Friday after all. OK, so let's start with the Rwanda stuff first and foremost. So they're going to Rwanda.
They are going to Rwanda, yeah. It's one of the very few countries that Her Majesty the Queen has never visited before. It's mainly for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, which is happening in a couple of weeks. But beforehand, they're focusing on a number of issues close to the Prince's heart. So climate change, opportunities for young people. And there's also a particular focus on the Rwandan genocide, which happened in 1994, where hundreds of thousands of people were killed. And they're going to be visiting a village on their first day of the trip to meet survivors and also perpetrators of that event at a reconciliation village. Wow. So I think that's going to be quite hard-hitting for them before they go on to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. It's the first one Prince Charles has actually attended since the leaders voted him in as the next head of the Commonwealth when Her Majesty the Queen is no longer with us. So it's quite significant.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jamaica as well now, obviously a bit of a different tone, really, I suppose. So they are officially starting, I suppose, what would you call it, independence procedures, maybe, or getting rid of us as the head of their Commonwealth? Yes,
according to reports, that is correct. So the government, which was voted in Jamaica a couple of years ago now, said in their manifesto that they would kind of get Jamaica out of the monarchy. And it looks like they have started proceedings to do that. But it's not quite as simple as just rubber stamping, we no longer want the Queen, we're going to get rid of her. It takes a lot of procedure. So there has to be 2 votes in their parliaments, in their House and in their Senate. And then it has to be put to the people in a referendum.
Oh, OK.
But from recent polls, the recent poll I could find, which from last year, suggests 55% of the population of Jamaica do want to become a republic and no longer have the Queen as head of state. We know Barbados in November 2021 got rid of Her Majesty the Queen as head of state and is now a republic. So, and also with the recent Caribbean tours, got quite a lot of bad publicity and press with, protests and demands for apologies for the royal family's role in the historical slave trade. It could perhaps start a domino effect of countries.
Yeah, indeed. I think this would be a massive concern, really. But it is an issue. It's yet another element, I think, Cameron, of the legacy of our dear Queen, really, because she is an institution in her own right. And then when she goes, OK, I think, I don't quite know exactly how popular Charles is at home or abroad, but, I mean, it does seem a bit like the end, well, it is the end of an era, and I think that maybe we're going to see a bit of this, like you said, maybe a potential domino effect. Do you think maybe of Commonwealth nations?
Well, I think the monarchy survives because it can adapt to change, and I think Prince Charles and Prince William, his son, to some extent, are very much aware of that, which is why I think we were seeing a slimmed-down version of the monarchy on the balcony at Trooping the Colour last week, and Prince Charles's perhaps plans for the future of the monarchy. I don't think there's any getting away from the fact that a vast majority of these Caribbean nations who still hold Her Majesty the Queen as head of state have done for kind of historical reasons due to colonialism, and I think they're catching on to the fact that there are other options for them. However, the British monarchy does a lot of brilliant work abroad. It really highlights issues in these countries which wouldn't necessarily be highlighted, human rights issues, charity work as well. So there is still support for the monarchy in the Caribbean, but I think there's a generational gap between younger people and older people.